Wasters. This is Corinne Connerino, aka Suburban Time Waster, with another podcast review. For this one, I'll be talking about the Winterwolves dating sim, Always Remember Me. In this game, Amy's a simple girl with an ordinary life until her boyfriend, Aaron, gets into a car accident. Not only does he not remember her, but Aaron's ex-girlfriend, Abigail, has come to take advantage of the situation. Will Amy help Aaron regain his memories, or will she find love in another man? The story's simple. There are no demons, no aliens, just a city girl trying to live her life. Amy works at an ice cream shop. She dreams of being a writer and she has her own blog. Amy has 4 men to choose from. Her shy coworker Lawrence, the chivalrous pervert Hugh, though the chivalrous part is up for debate, the workaholic doctor Eddie, and her amnesiac boyfriend Aaron, who you can see in the screen. Yep, that is totally Amy and Aaron in the picture, which means that they're the official couple of the game, and probably the canon option, though the sequel kind of dissuades that. Though, not the time to talk about that. Anyway, I know that amnesia has been a cliche since the condition was first diagnosed, but for a dating sim, it's actually quite original. Most dating sims start out with the MC being single. Here, the MC's in a relationship with one of the options, which goes south when said option forgets that the MC is his girlfriend. Not only does the picture show that Aaron and Amy are the official couple, which I talked about earlier, but when you listen to the theme song, Remember Me, by Christina V, which you sadly cannot find on Spotify, believe me, I've looked, it clearly describes Amy and Aaron's relationship. Though, considering Aaron himself, he does kind of seem like a jerk, because in one scene, Abigail called Amy average looking right to her face, and Aaron doesn't rush to defend her. You can argue that Aaron doesn't remember Amy, but if my boyfriend said something like that to another guy's face, I'd be angry with him. I mean, it's a rude thing to say. There's also a scene where Amy said that Aaron would get jealous if she so much as associated with another man. Amy also believes that her looks are average, and in some scenes, wonders if she belongs with Aaron, though she's only Hollywood homely average. I mean, come on, she's totally beautiful. And this could be Abigail and Osher trying to rip at her self-esteem. As for the other options, Lawrence seems sweet, but he suffers from nice guy syndrome. For those of you unfamiliar with the term, nice guy syndrome is when a guy deliberately acts nice to a girl in the hopes that he will be rewarded with sex. They don't see the girls they pursue as people, but as a prize to be won for good behavior. And there are some elements in the game that strongly hint that Lawrence is such a type. There's one scene where he secretly follows Amy, but you can't call him out on it because it lowers your relationship level with him. In another scene, Amy screws up at her job and Lawrence takes the fall. But if you try to set the boss straight, Lawrence gets mad at you for standing up for him. Eddie and Hugh seem more normal compared to Aaron and Lawrence. Hugh's just a tiny bit more controlling because he ordered pizza for Amy without asking her if she wanted any, and it was sent right to her house. How he knows her address, I have no idea, and I'd rather not think about. And no, you cannot call him out on that because it lowers his relationship level with you. There's also a scene where Hugh hits on you at the park, but instead of calling him out for inappropriate behavior, you have to play along with the cool girl archetype, which, in layman's terms, is a girl who acts exactly like the guy wants and never gives him grief, even when he deserves it. The worst Eddie's ever done is get ready-made food and try to impress you by pretending that he cooked it himself. Though, replaying the game now, there is a darker element that I never noticed before. As for the darker element regarding Eddie, remember when I said that Abigail's here to take advantage of Aaron's bad mental state? That's right. Abigail finds out that her ex-boyfriend's in the hospital, and she immediately starts manipulating the situation to not only trick Aaron into believing that they're still dating, but playing this now, I realize that there's only one way that Abigail would have found out that Aaron was in the hospital to begin with. Osher, Aaron's father, must have told her. Let me explain that Abigail is Aaron's manipulative ex-girlfriend who Aaron dumped before he started dating Amy. Osher also looks down on Amy, but highly approves of Abigail. It's highly implied that Aaron comes from a wealthy family while Amy is middle class. So I suspect that Abigail also comes from a wealthy family, which is why Osher prefers her to Amy. But Osher is every bit as psychologically manipulative as Abigail. I remember reading about an episode of How I Met Your Mother where Barney tells Lily about his plan to go to the amnesia ward and trick the hottest woman there into thinking he's her long-lost husband by showing phony pictures of the children they supposedly have, which naturally disgusts Lily. The writer of the article called this a form of psychological rape, as he was taking advantage of a woman who had gone through severe trauma to get sex. Abigail is doing the exact same thing to Aaron, as she is using this situation to not only get Aaron back, but to manipulate him into being the type of boyfriend she wants. Osher is playing along with Abigail's schemes to turn Aaron into the son that he wants, and all Amy can do is try to expose Aaron to the truth in an attempt to rescue him from a psychologically abusive family. Slight spoiler alert, if you pursue another guy, Aaron ends up back with Abigail, which is pretty obvious when you play the game. Yet, when you really think about the game from Aaron's perspective, it turns into a horror show. Aaron was raised by a father who only loved Aaron as an extension of himself and started to resent Aaron as he became his own person. Then he dates a girl who is basically his father in the form of a woman loving Aaron only as an extension of herself and tries to manipulate him by forming him into the boyfriend she wants. Aaron finally breaks free by dating a sweet and caring girl who loves him for him, and then he has a motorcycle accident that causes him to forget the girl who set him free, sending him right back into the arms of abuse. His only hope of freedom being that Amy can save him, but if Abigail and Osher are too strong, then Aaron is forever trapped, not even safe in his own home. Despite the somewhat questionable scenes with Aaron I mentioned earlier, I can't help but feel for him, as those of you who've watched my videos know that I have a similar relationship with my dad. Sadly, this aspect doesn't get the attention it deserves, but it is an interesting concept to think about. Though, if you think about it too much, it might bum you out. Yet, despite the game not calling attention to the actual issue, I do like how amnesia is portrayed as a serious condition, and how there's a chance that the affected might not get their memory back. Seeing Aaron get his memory of Amy back on his route, and finally escaping Abigail and Osher can make you cry tears of happiness. Yet watching Amy come to terms with losing Aaron on the other routes can make you cry tears of sorrow. Which is why, despite what I said about Aaron earlier, he's actually my favorite route in the game, because the scene where she has to stop pursuing Aaron and move on breaks my heart as much as it does Amy's. As for how that relates to Eddie, he is Aaron's doctor charged with treating him, and he is allowing his own patient to be manipulated right in front of him. Now, I don't know the procedure for amnesiac victims, so I don't know what the standard is for situations like this. But doctors should be cracking down harder when they recognize an ethical violation, such as what Osher and Abigail were doing to Aaron. Though there is a chance that the doctors might not know the patient well enough to know the situation, and Eddie might not know Aaron's situation enough to grasp what's going on. Though it still doesn't make up for the fact that Eddie pursued the girlfriend of his patient while she was emotionally vulnerable about the state of her boyfriend. It makes me think that Eddie was actually encouraging Osher and Abigail so that he can win over an emotionally distraught Amy. Which you can argue that Lawrence and Hugh were trying to do, especially when the latter visits Aaron at the hospital to ask him if he and Amy can get together. Though there was a chance that Hugh might have been checking to see if Aaron truly forgot Amy. The only difference is that Eddie has more power in the situation, which really causes me to question his morals. Don't get me wrong, I love how Amy's relationship develops differently with each guy, and how she doesn't immediately forget Aaron when you pursue the other guys, but considering the circumstances, there are some frightening aspects to consider. Yes, Amy is the good girl, and Abigail is the bad girl. Amy dresses in modest clothes, while Abigail dresses more provocatively. Amy talks friendly, while Abigail is a bit of a flirt. Yet what makes Abigail a bad person is not how she dresses or her supposed promiscuity. which we have no evidence of, as the only guy the game confirms she slept with is Aaron. What makes her a bad person is how she's manipulating the situation to her advantage. The game tries to give her a sympathetic moment by having a scene where she cries about how grateful she is for getting a second chance with Aaron, though no one points out that her second chance is based on a lie, which kills any sympathy she could ever get. Even Amy is less concerned about how Aaron is being manipulated and more concerned about how she herself is losing Aaron. Let's not forget that Amy is also being manipulated by 3 guys who are trying to take advantage of her emotional vulnerability, but the men in question are portrayed much more positively, and one of them is also a huge flirt like Abigail, which might also be why I prefer Aaron's route out of all those guys. He seems to be the only one not manipulating her. Every weekday morning, you have to work at the ice cream shop. Yeah, fun. Other than that, you have free range until after sunset. You can update your blog, work overtime, more fun, go shopping, and more. Some of these activities actually increase a stat that helps get a special ending with the character that stat is associated with. Eddie's discipline, Aaron's romance, Lawrence's culture, and Hugh's creativity. You can also talk to each character at their respective places. The hospital, where Aaron and Eddie reside, the mall, where Hugh works, and the ice cream shop where Lawrence works. Aaron and Lawrence are both available at their respective places every day, which makes sense for Aaron considering his condition, but Lawrence works a minimum wage job every day of the week with no day off. Yeah, swallow that. Meanwhile, Eddie and Hugh have much better jobs, but Eddie gets the weekends off, while Hugh at least gets Sundays off. At first, I didn't think much of it, but now that I've had experience in the working world, I'm feeling really sorry for Lawrence. Anyway, if you're on Eddie's path, you can eventually talk to him at his house, which you can take advantage of during the weekends. Each character has scenes that activate in various locations and can give you more relationship points based on how you respond to them, but they require being at the right place at the right time, which can get a little frustrating. For gem scenes, you actually have to pay for a membership just to activate them, which is only helpful if you're trying to get Eddie's special ending. Though I will admit that it is fun moving Amy around and seeing all of the different things she can do at different places, raising up her stats while improving her relationship with your chosen guy. Though I should warn you that there's a lot of clicking involved, so you might want to watch out for carpal tunnel. If you pursue another character besides Aaron, you get an extra scene where you have to decide whether you want to give up on him completely or keep pursuing him. The scene's supposed to be heartbreaking, but it's hard to feel sorry for Amy when you haven't gone to see Aaron once in your entire playthrough. So Amy and Aaron going their separate ways is on you. If you fail to win any of the other characters' hearts, you get the alone ending. Now, there are 2 frustrating things about the special endings. For normal endings that only require getting your relationship with a certain character to 100, the game gives you the option to continue or stop the game to see the ending you got. In the case of special endings, you don't get that choice. It immediately fast forwards to the ending regardless of whether or not you want to play all the scenes the character has to offer. Not just that, but each of the special endings has Amy getting a career that's entirely dependent on the man she dates. If there were options where Amy could explore different career options in the game, that would make a bit more sense. Unfortunately, the only career option Amy pursues is writing. You can have her practice writing or update her blog about books at the library. You can have her write poetry in her room, or purchase a netbook so she can work on a romance novel in her room instead. There are no other career paths for Amy, so it feels bizarre to see her uproot her life just for the current man in her life. I know that seems like I might hate this game, but truth is, it's the exact opposite. While there are many unfortunate implications that have only just now reached my attention, I have a unique attachment to the game. Those of you who watch my videos know that I love to write, so a game starring a wannabe writer appeals to me. Not just that, but this game is the origin story for Suburban Time Waster. When this game came out, seeing Amy work on her blog inspired me to start my own blog. At first, my plan was to do a book review blog, but then I decided that since I spend most of my free time playing video games, why not focus on that instead? Then my WordPress blog, Suburban Time Waster, was born, which I later migrated to this very YouTube account. So this game is not only a fun pastime for me, but it had a huge impact on my life. Despite the many unfortunate implications, the game does have a unique premise, and it is fun moving Amy around to perform various activities. I also liked that it's so focused on writing and books. Because, writing is my passion, as I've said many times. I give this game 7 out of 10. The origin of Suburban Time Waster, and with that, my time wasting has come to an end. I hope you like this podcast enough to give it a like. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification button to stay up to date. You can also leave a comment saying whether or not you've played Always Remember Me, and or whether or not you agree with my review. You can also follow me on one of my other social media accounts, which you'll find in the summary. Maybe check out some of my writing on AO3.